what's up, Brian? Demo video for you. It probably won't be too quick because we've got two sabers. This is your Jedi Apprentice Obiwan saber from Jimmy, or this was designed by Jimmy's Junk. It also has the Jimmy's Junk crystal chamber chassis in it. 2-button setup. So this red switch here will be your activation. This gold switch over here will be your auxiliary. And then you just want to unscrew your pommel to get to your chassis. You take that all the way off. You can see your chassis sticking out right here. Pull it straight out, all right? Pull it straight out. And this is what you've got. I did color it up a little bit with some rub and buff just to bring out the details, because it does have a tremendous amount of detail in this chassis. You got your crystal chamber there, obviously. It's a real quartz crystal. You can see your activation switch right here. Kill switch right here. Your Proffie board. Easy access to your SD card and your micro USB from there. You've got CC Sabers in here for your NeoPixel connector. There it goes. This is running a 28mm Smoker's Outpost Dark Side speaker. This does have a removable battery, so you can pop it out with your finger like this. This is your battery that has the wrap on it, all right, but it's all charged up. And that's what that looks like. It's a very nice chassis. We'll throw the battery in. Go ahead and flip the kill switch over here. Turn this off. I've got your crystal just kind of pulsing when the saber's off. And then it will match the blade color when it's on. It does react to the auxiliary button being pressed, if I can find it. And I gave you twist off. Now when putting this on, or inside the saber rather, you want to take your power button, which is right here, it's got the groove in it, and line it up with this red switch. All right, that's the only way it's going to go all the way in. You can see it from the emitter if you're having trouble. I've been testing this quite a bit, so I don't have any issue with it. But if you need to look through the emitter, you can see where that switch lines up with the groove in the chassis. All right, then we'll go ahead and take our pommel, put it on. Just like that. And then we come over here and hit power. So this saber sounds really good. Auxiliary over here. I gave you twist off, and then this also takes a 1-inch diameter NeoPixel blade. So we'll throw a blade in here. Plenty of blade depth. Good flat flash. Blade lockup is holding down aux and hitting the saber. And then this has the stock font package on it as well.
Scene C. Smooth Jedi. Smooth Gray. Smooth Fuzz.
Just like that. We'll take the blade out of this guy and go over taking the battery out. Now you don't have to take the battery out on this. You can just open it up and flip the kill switch. All right, so again, we'll pull it back out. I'll turn it on, and then we'll flip the kill switch to show you everything's working. Come over here and flip it, and it cuts everything like it should. So that is your Jedi Apprentice saber. We'll put this back together and set it off to the side. Alright. And then the other saber I did for you was the Child Saber by Shadowfoil Props and Phoenix Props. You saw me working on this on my live stream yesterday, and then I finished it up today because I was waiting on a speaker. Alright, so this is your saber for this guy. I don't have the plunger in right now, and I don't have the clamp card in, obviously. I'm going to leave those separate in a bag, but I'll show you how to put those in here in a second. I had to take your plunger, file down quite a bit of material so that it would fit in the box and actuate the switch and still fit under the clamp card. I also did have to sand the back of the clamp card just a hair, if you can see that, but everything's working fine. All right. How to get to the chassis is you just want to unscrew the pommel on this guy. In the pommel is a speaker pod that has a 22mm Vico speaker in it, and that doesn't come out, that stays in there. You'll see your chassis here. Before taking the chassis out though, you'll want to take the clamp card out and you'll want to take the plunger out. It's very important that you do that first because this chassis is pretty tight and you'll have to grab it and kind of twist it. You don't want to twist it with that plunger in it. Alright, it comes out just like that. And this is your super tiny crystal chamber chassis. So you got your Proffie board there, crystal chamber right here. It does have a NeoPixel accent that's independently wired. CC Sabers in here for your lit PCB. I did color the chassis with some rub and buff to bring out all the detailing. This is a 1-button setup on this guy. If you had the regular chassis for this, it'd be a 2-button, but when if you have the crystal chamber chassis, it has to be a 1-button setup. All right, so that's what that looks like right there. It does take an 18350 battery. That is something I couldn't get away from. Typically on my chassis, I do like to hide the wires. This guy is just so small, there's no room to do that. So yes, there is some wiring underneath the board there. All right. The positive side of your battery goes on the side where the crystal chamber's at. All right. Don't put it in backwards. It goes in there very tough. You'll need a tool to take it out. All right. So put it in there. It has to go straight in. You can't put one side in before the other. You have to push it in at the same time. Push it all the way in, it'll snap in place. And then as you can see, I've got your crystal kind of pulsing when the saber's off, but it is on a timer. So if you don't turn it on right away, it will time out. Or if you turned on the saber like this, it's your LEDs in there firing up, your crystal's firing up. It does react to blaster bolt deflects. And then I gave you a twist off on this guy. All right. Now in putting this in, there's no way to clock the chassis. What you have to do is you have to pay attention to this little brass tactile switch right here. It needs to be lined up with the back hole in this clamp card area. All right. And it's possible to push it too far in. You don't want to do that. So let me get it to where it needs to go. If you can see that in there, I don't know if that'll pick it up or not. But in that hole right there, you can see that brass tactile switch sticking up. It's centered on that hole, and that's where it needs to be. You push it too far in like this, it's not going to touch the speaker. All right, so we'll take it back out and we'll line it up the way it needs to be. Lined up exactly with that hole. Just like that. It doesn't take too much to do it. If you can see that right there. Then what we want to do is take our pommel and screw our pommel on. All right. Screw this all the way on. Now the speaker is making contact with the chassis. We can come over here and we can put our plunger in. And then you want to put your plunger in like that in the back hole. Just like that. And then put the clamp card over it. And you just have to be careful. This saber is very tiny. It just takes a little bit of, being easy with it to set it up. So once you get that in there, it's going to look like this. There is barely any room in between the plunger and the top of this card. I filed it down to where there's just barely any play at all. All right, but there is actuation. So once you get that in and everything's good to go, you can come over here and press the back. You got twist off. You do have another pair of CC Sabers in here for the NeoPixel connector that touches the blade. Again, I'll show you what a 7/8 blade looks like lit up, but my blade is so long that this saber won't hold it. Okay, I made as low of a profile NeoPixel PCB holder as I could. You can see you just have a little bit of blade depth. This is really going to be something that needs a custom blade. It needs a 7/8 inch blade, but you know, between 12 to 15 inches maybe. This is slightly longer, so it's heavier. But I can put it in and show you that your NeoPixel works. So it fires the blade up exactly like it should. Again, it's green, you know, to match the sound font. This has the Grogu sound font from Kyberphonic on it. Or the child, rather. Sorry about that. But yeah, and then I also did some slight weathering to this guy all the way around. And you had me put this mudhorn etch on it, so that's what we did there as well. All right, so just a small mudhorn etch. A little bit of weathering, not too much. But there is a lot to this saber, right? So we'll go over taking it out one time just so that you can see how I did it. Again, we'll want to take the pommel off. I did leave some stock fonts on there too. But I just went over that one, of course, because it matched the saber. All right. So we'll take that pommel off. Again, we're going to want to come over here and take the clamp card off. Take the plunger out. It should fall right into your hand. It's just like that. We'll put that off to the side. I'll put the plunger and the clamp card in its own separate bag. But once that's out, you can come over here and grab the chassis and twist it and pull it out. All right. And then I've been using a pair of tweezers like this to get the battery out. You have to pull one side up a little bit. Swap, come over and pull the other side of the battery out. I mean, it is a tight fit in there. All right. Maybe do that once or twice. The battery will stick out about like that. And then you can pull it the rest of the way out. But that is basically your child saber with crystal chamber and also your Jedi Apprentice saber. Let me know if you got any questions, and if not, I will package these guys up and get them out in the mail to you tomorrow. All right, thanks.